Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches, donde quiera que usted esté. Gracias por estar con nosotros en Voces en Acción nuevamente. El show que viene para poderle ayudar a usted a entender muchas cosas que pasan en la comunidad, en el área de Houston, en el área de Texas, el norte, sobre todo en el área de Montgomery y alrededor del mundo, porque tengo muchas personas en el mundo visitando nuestras redes y interactuando con nosotros. Les agradezco de todo corazón que todavía durante casi los 3 años estén con nosotros y manténganse ahí. Hoy vamos a tener un show magnífico. Vamos a hablar sobre cosas que la comunidad hispana necesita saber en tiempos reales. Estamos todos envejeciendo y nadie se pone más joven. Así que necesitamos hablar sobre el cuidado de nuestros adultos. Hoy con nosotros vamos a tener al grupo que se llama... La traducción sería el cuidado de adultos, ¿ok? Scout, Senior Care Scout, y tengo a las representantes del programa conmigo. Pero antes quiero agradecerle a First Financial Bank por estar con nosotros, por apoyarnos, por darnos guía. First Financial Bank ha estado con nosotros desde 1900, se mantiene con nosotros y continuarán con nosotros porque es parte de la familia de Conroe, parte de la familia de Montgomery. First Financial Bank les ofrece desde cuentas de banco hasta todo tipo de ayuda financiera. Contáctelos 936-439-1800, 936-439-1800. Cualquier pregunta acerca de comprar una casa y si no tiene papeles, hable con la señora Susie Woods. Ella sería la especialista encargada de esa parte y llámela. Ella tiene su teléfono abierto, ella puede hablar con usted y ayudarle. Recuerde que First Financial Bank está al alcance de sus sueños. Good day, good afternoon, wherever you are. Jenny Rosales here in Voces in Action, bringing you the latest information in regards to what's going on within Montgomery County, Texas North, everything that is in the area, even outside the United States, in the world, because I have people visiting my webpage. I have people from Japan, people from Nicaragua, from Panama, everywhere. They're asking questions and they're relating with me. And I'm happy that almost close to the 3 years of being out in the public, people still think that my program is worth it to be listening, and I am happy to offer all the information that I can to make knowledgeable people. I always say that education comes first, so the more I can educate both of the communities, whether you're non-Spanish speaker and English speaker, and you're able to understand what's going on, you need to be informed how the Hispanic community works, and that's what I'm here. Voces en Acción is to unite. It's a voice to unite and to talk for those that are not able to talk. But first of all, I want to thank today First Financial Bank. First Financial Bank has been with us since 1900. They're here to stay. They're part of our family in Conroe. There are so many branches within Montgomery County, and you can reach them at 936-439-1800, 936-439-1800. They will open a basic bank account for you if you need it, or if you're looking for a loan for a house's business, they will be able to assist you. If you don't have a Social Security number, they have a new program for the IAN people. That means people that have only the number from the IRS. With that number and the resources that you have, you will be able to apply for a $400,000 loan. Talk to Susie Woods. She's one of the VPs of financials, and she will be more than glad to assist you. Remember, First Financial Bank is at the reach of your dreams. Today, we're going to talk to a nice group of women that are developing themselves. They're doing so much for the community, but what they're doing is something that my mother used to do, take care of the elderly. My mom was a registered nurse, and she's 92 almost, 93, and she's a registered nurse, and she's a geriatric nurse. So working with the elderly is something that I am pleased to come out and talk about, because that's a taboo in the Hispanic community. People don't know that there's services for the elderly and that we're having to need the care for them. We're going to talk to Miss Leslie Williams and to Chaplain Diane Nielsen. She's here with us, and they're able to guide us through the process. We're going to give you guys in my program, you'll see in the webpage all the information about them, how you can contact them. So don't get lost. We have a long way to go. Thank you, Miss Diane. Thank you, Miss Leslie, for being with us. It's a pleasure meeting you last time. And I know bringing our communities together is the best thing that we do in these days. So first of all, I want to know how Senior Care Scout started.
Well, actually, next week on October 1st, we will have been doing this for 10 years.
Wow.
Yes.
So you're October baby like me. I'm
Yes.
an October baby too. I have to say this in October. This show is gonna air. It's airing in October. So basically, it is it's a very thick month for me. First of
Right.
all, domestic violence, suicide awareness, and then of course my birthday, and of course you guys your birthday. So
Wow.
it's yes, it is always October has been
Alzheimer,
Alzheimer's awareness
yes.
as well.
Yes.
So I'm dressed in purple,
Right.
because
Oh, I
of
get
that,
that.
I usually believe
It's radio. I'm so glad you said that.
And then we have to understand that there's things going on in October.
Right.
Breast cancer awareness.
Yes.
A lot of stuff going on in October. So we're pleased to know that your birthday is, your
Yes.
company's birthday is in October. And
Yes.
thank you for being in the community,
Yes.
doing this type of work. How does it work? I know that you, the Hispanic community tend to be noisy. We want to know, you guys are married, have kids, how do you develop this? What is that going on through your mind? What do you things like that. So we want to start little by
Well,
little.
how all of this got started 10 years ago was that I got out of another career, which I was in corporate event productions. So I was doing corporate events all over the world. And my mother-in-law passed away, and then my father passed away, which left my father-in-law and my mother still living. So my husband and I, being the modern marriage that we are, one of us needed to stay close by instead of flying all over the place. So we did what every modern American couple did, is we flipped a coin. And I got the short end of it. So I backed out of my career and decided to take all of the money that I had available with the firm that I was previously with, and I invested it into real estate. So the real estate that I invested in around here were all in communities where the age group was over 55 years of age, because I felt that the older adults, they wouldn't have the wild parties, and I knew that older adults would take care of my rental properties and that. And it just seemed like a perfect thing to do until I got to the point where neighbors would call and saying, you need to go over to your house on Lilac Ridge and check on your guy living in there, because I don't think he's changed his clothes in a couple of months, and I'm not sure he's doing okay. So I would go over there and rap on the door, and he comes to the door and he looks really bad, and then I look beyond the door, and inside the house it's like it's a mess. And I walk in there and I sit down with him and I say, you should not be living like this. And he starts to break up and cry and said, well, when Mary Ellen was alive, she did all of the cooking and the cleaning
and everything.
She balanced the checkbook, and
Everything was done.
yes, and so now I was like, I know, but Mary Ellen has been with Jesus for over a year, and she wouldn't want you living like this. So he's like, well, I know, but, and I just said, you'll always be my friend, but you can't live in my house anymore. So put him inside, and we went driving around and tried to find him another place to live. And I always like to tell families that when I work with older adults like this, it's like a plant where you're taking them out of the pot where they're in and they're wilting and they're just not thriving. And we're putting them into a new pot with some new soil and some water and fertilizer, and we're sticking them out there in the sunshine, and we hope that they'll bloom again.
Okay, let me recapitulate all you're saying in Spanish, because my Spanish
Sure.
is I'm trying to
Yes.
understand what's going on. En la compañía de Senior Care Scout comenzó básicamente hace más de 10 años. El 1 de octubre ellos cumplen 10 años. Le digo que este mes de octubre es un mes muy fuerte para mí, un mes de que se habla sobre la violencia doméstica, sobre el suicidio de los jóvenes y de los adultos. Ahorita mismo tengo una persona que conozco que está en una cama entubado y él está peleando por su vida porque trató de quitarse la vida. Ha habido muchos casos de eso. Encima eso es mi cumpleaños, porque para que lo sepan, yo celebro todo el mes, así que me pueden textear y decir feliz cumpleaños, Jenny. Y la otra cosa es que ellos cumplen también 10 años de estar trabajando. La Chaplain, la señora Nielsen, acaba de decir lo siguiente: 10 años donde ella comenzó, primero murió el papá de ella y después murió el suegro de ella, las dos personas murieron, la suegra de ella. Entonces automáticamente le tocó a ella, junto con su marido y su manera de ser ellos, flip the coin, a ver quién va a cuidar ahora de mi mamá y de mi suegro. Entonces ella decidió salirse del corporate world y irse y comenzar el senior, un investment en propiedades, donde ella rentaba las propiedades a personas adultas, mayores de 55 años. El problema era que muchas veces le llamaban por teléfono y decían, hey, Miss Diane, la persona que vive en esta propiedad suya tiene días que no se bañan, días que no se cepilla, está dejándose, vaya a chequearlo porque algo está pasando. Automáticamente ella llegaba, tocaba la puerta. Esa es la historia que ella dice más fuerte. Llegó, vio al señor, el señor estaba malo, la casa desordenada, todo pasado. El señor estaba teniendo problemas emocionales severos y no podía cuidarse él mismo. Y lo único que le dijo fue ella, mira, ¿sabes qué? Desde que murió mi esposa hace un año, mi esposa era la que podía hacer las cuentas, mantenía el hogar, mantenía todo. Yo no tengo esa capacidad ni nada. Entonces, Diana agarró eso como el esfuerzo que ella quiso hacer. Dijo, ¿sabes qué? Yo tengo que ver cómo puedo ayudar a esta gente, porque ahora me estoy dando cuenta que están necesitando dónde ir cuando no pueden cuidarse ellos mismos y no se pueden dejar en un ambiente inseguro. Tienen que sacarse de ese ambiente y ponerse en un ambiente como cuando usted saca una planta y la planta la saca de su raíz y la transporta a un pote nuevo. Le tiene que poner tierra nueva, fertilizante nuevo para que la planta crezca. Lo mismo está haciendo la ciudad de Diane con los adultos que no se pueden cuidar.
Yes. Yes. No.
Your Spanish is good, am I right?
Pretty much have this.
What happened is that's true. You get the plant out and you have to take it to put new soil and otherwise the plant is not going to grow.
Correct.
The same thing when you do with an elderly or with somebody, a kid, you need to take them out of their environment. You have to do a new environment. You have to do everything from scratch.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So after that time, the word kind of spread around the neighborhood that maybe I was a good resource to go to, but I was like, I'm just one person, and I thought someplace in the community, in the county, there had to be other resources, other family advocates. So I looked into Interfaith, which I thought was a really good organization. But there just wasn't anybody there that would be an actual family advocate, somebody that would go in and work with the family, work with the individual, and basically go through the daunting task of getting them from one home to another
a senior,
home,
exactly.
Whatever it ended up
Whether it was
being.
a hospice, a senior, whatever it
Yes.
needed to be done at that process.
Yeah, yes. So you kind of start putting two and two together and going, I think I could probably open up a little business here and get the word out and let people know that I was available. And because I really didn't have any background in this, had to go back to school. So I went two different directions. One, I went to seminary to get my chaplain's degree, and that, so that was a good education in letting me know how to compassionately work with the elderly. Plus, I needed it to be able to go in and work in the hospitals.
Can you imagine? Somebody dying and needs in your care.
Exactly.
Knowing how to talk to the families.
Exactly.
That's something that, that I give my hand to anybody that is first responder, anybody that is
Yes.
in doctors, nurses, from chaplains and priests, whatever.
Yes.
That's a tough world because
Yes.
they have to face death every minute. They don't know when.
Right. So I did that, and then I also became a member of the Society of Certified Senior Advisors, which is a group of people that have their businesses geared around seniors, whether it's in financial planning or in elder law. Or in it's just
everything.
Exactly.
From last wills to probate to everything
Exactly.
that have to go to courts and stuff like that.
Became part of that organization, which gave me a lot of education, and then I felt a little bit more empowered that I could actually go out and start working with families, because it wasn't just the person that needed to be placed. A lot of times you had the dynamics of the family come out, and there the knives came out where, they would say, well, Mom loved you more than loved me, and I don't know why I need to help contribute to this. And so the family dynamics were hard, and you'd hear stories that
my God, I don't even know.
was like, I don't want to help my dad out because he molested me when I was a child.
That's a lot of the stuff that is going on. Exactly.
Yes, and so you're faced with the fact that I know, but he is your father. And in the Bible, it says that you don't have to love your mother and father. It says you need to honor them, right?
Regardless of who they are. It doesn't, there's not a P.S. postada, if they're jerks or they're rapists.
Exactly.
Honor them. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't say you have to love them, but you need to honor them. And one step further in that, at this point in time, your dad needs some help right now, and I need for you to step up and become legal power of attorney so that we can go forward and find a safe place for your dad to live. So every single case is very different, but now 10 years later, Annette, there isn't anything I haven't seen.
God bless you,
She's
Diane.
so knowledgeable and so experienced with all the things that we...
And what started out where I just was saying I just need to talk with people that are elderly and work with their families. Within the past couple of weeks, Annette, I've had the reverse happen where, a family has come in and said, I have a 51-year-old son that has brain cancer and I can't take care of him anymore, and I need some place to put him. Mm-hmm. And these people will be, you'll be in their home and crying and stuff. And of course, the first thing they always ask is wanting some government program that they can go to. But unfortunately, here in the state of Texas, there isn't any.
Not for that, and there's not either for kids that are parents are dead, die for XRB, and they have mental disabilities like cerebral palsy or autism or Down syndrome. Those kids are after 22, and if their parents don't live long, they're by themselves. They're on their own, and they have to fight it. And I noticed that because I've done the research. I have brought institutions here to my show in regards to that place. Estamos hablando básicamente del trabajo de ella, básicamente cómo ha sido. Para ella ha sido como vio la necesidad de ayudar a aquellos adultos que estaban en discapacidad mental porque o entraban con problemas de Alzheimer o problemas de old age, como se llama, vejez que viene con el tiempo. Ella decidió, entonces, ¿sabes qué? Yo voy a ir a educarme. Sacó su posgrado en lo que se llama ser pastora, es pastora, un chaplain, una persona que va y tiene una educación de cómo lidiar con personas que están pasando por problemas bien fuertes, donde la palabra según ella, la palabra de lo que ella aprendió allí es para poderle darle fuerza a todas las personas. Es como un doctor o una enfermera o un asistente que está en los hospicios. Ellos están entrenados para poder dar fuerza a los familiares en la pérdida, porque la pérdida de un ser humano es algo serio. Entonces, la señora que es Chaplain, ella se certificó en eso primero. Después que terminó eso y se fue y se registró como Senior Care Advisor. Ella se graduó con esa certificación en un grupo de un grupo grande donde agarran y te entrenan en cómo trabajar con los adultos, cómo hablarle a las familias. ¿Qué es lo que tiene el proceso de localizar viviendas, sea en un hospice, sea en una casa de retiro, o sea en una casa de 55 años para arriba, lo que sea que la persona necesite en ese momento? Ese vio todo, porque dice que en estos 10 años Jenny he visto todo. He visto cuando llegan a donde mí y me dicen, bueno, yo no quiero cuidar a mi papá porque mi papá me violó cuando estaba chiquita. Entonces, ella les tiene que decir, ¿sabes qué? Tu papá te violó y tuviste problemas con tu papá, perfecto, no hay ningún problema. Pero en la Biblia dice, honrarás a tu padre y a tu madre. Y en la honra, no dice en la parte de abajo, aunque sean ladrones, o sea, violadores, o sea, lo que sea. No, tienes que honrar a tu padre y a tu madre. Y en estos momentos necesitamos que tú nos des la información para poder ayudar a tu papá, para que conseguirle un lugar de vida tranquila donde él pueda pasar sus últimos días. Ella ha tenido que ver eso. Ella ha tenido que ver muchos de los hijos peleándose entre ellos diciendo, oh, pero mi mamá te quería más a ti que a mí. O sea, eso está pasando en nuestra ciudad, en nuestra comunidad ahorita mismo. O también ver el abandono completo de un adulto, donde los hijos no les importa. Entonces, todas esas gamas durante 10 años la ha visto, ha trabajado mucho, tiene la experiencia y por eso decidió hacer lo que se llama Senior Care Scout. Senior Care Scout is a hotline, basically.
Yes, we are a community resource.
Community, exactly. It's like me, 211. We're the 211 to go. I'm the 211 to go for the Hispanic community. They'll call me, and then I had to have two phones because one of them ringing, and
Yes.
my partner said to me, "Hello." Either after 8 o'clock, I don't want it ringing. It has to stop. But the 211 for seniors. That means anybody, no matter if they don't speak English, no matter if they don't have any papers. Is that something that you...
Yes, and actually, when I think our biggest source of people calling us up and where they get our name and number from, a lot of times will be from hospitals, caseworkers, social workers out in the community. And the phone will ring, and I'll answer it, and I'll go meet with the family, and inevitably, with the family surrounded, the first question I get hands down is, how much is Medicare going to pay for this? And it kind of
breaks your heart.
Yeah, because this is a loved one that we're talking about, and yet you have the family surrounded saying, how much is Medicare paying for this? And my answer is, they're paying for none of it. So now we need to sit around the table and figure out what is it that we're going to do, because otherwise, when your mom is discharged from rehab or
whatever it is, the bill is going to come to you.
Yeah, or they'll ask them, it's like, well, where can we drop you off at? And if it's a family's place, fine. But a lot of times, these older adults don't have any great mental cognizance.
Capacity. Exactly.
And they'll say, well, you can just drop me off at Starbucks. They will drop them off at Starbucks. And I've got the call from Starbucks, too, saying that we have an elderly person who has all of his belongings.
And they're right here sitting down, and they don't know where to go.
Exactly. Or you get the frantic calls, saying that the social worker has told me that my dad has been discharged from St. Luke's Hospital, and he's down there waiting at the lobby, and at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and they're like, where am I going to take them? He burned his house down because he has dementia, and he didn't turn the stove off, and that actually happened. And she's crying, and she goes, I can't take him home with me.
Ay, Padre Eterno, se ha criado.
So at that point, it's kind of like, well, you're going to have to bite the bullet, and let's figure out how much money can we come up with to find some place that we can put your dad where he's going to be safe.
Mire lo que está pasando. Y no sé si es la cultura americana o la cultura completamente de estas últimas generaciones. Los milenios y los de generación Z y la generación A que están creándose en estos momentos. Porque la generación X no somos así. Los baby boomers y los builders no somos así. And I'm talking generational. Creo que la frialdad con nuestros padres es tan grande. Ella dice que muchas llamadas que le llegan son de trabajadoras sociales o de hospitales buscando recursos para poder ella poder asistir a las familias. Muchas veces tiene llamadas de hijas que dicen, bueno, a mi papá le dieron de alta, está abajo en el piso, no sé qué, en el San Luc, y hay que recogerlo, y simple y sencillamente yo no lo puedo traer para mi casa porque él quemó su casa porque tiene demencia. Si yo lo traigo para mi casa, ¿qué yo voy a hacer? O cuando se reúne con la familia, lo primero que preguntan, ¿cuánto Medicaid o Medicare va a pagar por esto? Señores, Medicare y Medicaid no pagan por nada de esto. Si usted tiene un papá y una mamá con problemas, a usted, así como ellos le limpiaron, a usted lo bañaron, lo cuidaron, le dieron de crecer, le dieron de comer y le dieron una educación, usted tiene que ver cómo usted ayuda a su padre y a su madre. Eso no, el gobierno no tiene que cargar con nadie. Hay asistencia médica para los que trabajaron por muchos años, que se jubilaron, y sí lo hay. Pero Medicare y Medicare no es el fondo de ninguna familia personal per se. No lo hay, ¿ok? Apréndanse eso. Comiencen a ahorrar para mayo, como decía mi mamá. Los adultos de esta generación que vienen en esta generación, que son los builders y los baby boomers que están muriendo, necesitan ayuda de los millennials y de la generación Z. I'm going to say it in English. Basically, I don't know if it's a cultural thing or if it's a generational thing. Okay? To me, baby boomers and builders are dying right now. Okay? Generation X is very caring about their parents. But generations, millennials, and A and C, they don't care about their parents. They literally have no heart.
Well, they don't understand.
And they don't understand you know why? And I'm going to blame this to all of the Generation X. We created social media. We created all the technology. And guess what we did? We separated the family.
That's true.
Family.
Because
Yeah.
we forgot that when we came home, we were supposed to go outside and play.
Right.
Now our kids come home and they sit down in a tablet, and that's the only thing they do.
Exactly.
And that's why they don't have any feelings about grandma, grandpa that are dying, or
Well-
mom if his mom is in a hospice.
Yeah.
I cannot take care of her. Hello, in my mom, and thanks the Lord, I have a sister that is a gold. My baby sister never got married, and she's taking care of my father and my mother, and they're 91 and 92 and 93 years old.
Wow.
And my parents and my mom, both parents are, they're retired from the federal government, so they have a good income, but they live in a bubble. My parents are very well taken care.
Yeah.
But we're 5 sisters, but my little sister is the one that has the whole hand on her with my parents.
Right.
If it wasn't for my sister, I don't know what we have to do.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
we all got married and have kids. But nobody, now that you're saying that, it hurts me
Yeah.
that we are not taking priority on our elderly, because according to our, and I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but the Hispanic, we try to keep our parents with us
At
all the way
home.
until
Right.
they die.
Exactly.
The godmother of my kids, she just buried her mother and her father 2 years ago. And she went through the whole thing you went through. She decided to keep her mom and her dad at home, and they both died at their house.
Yeah.
She was taking care of them 24/7.
That's how it
Pampers,
used to be.
milk,
Yeah.
everything that they needed. Because she says, when I was growing up, they cleaned me, they bathed me,
Yes.
they did everything for me. The minimum thing I can do is the respect for them to die. Dignifying death, have a dignifying death, because they're my parents. And I'm serious. To me, I love that woman because of that. I never seen a woman that is. I keep telling her you're gonna go directly to heaven,
That's
because
beautiful.
basically, I've never seen that many kids devoted to your parents. So that's something that we need to train.
That's how it
or
used to
younger
be.
generation.
Yes,
Exactly.
that's how it
exactly.
used
Well,
to be.
the other thing is that there's a lot of bad actors out there too that are giving people information that isn't wrong,
Also.
but it isn't what I consider to be a good moral code. And one example that comes to mind was, I was called by the social worker to one of the skilled nursing facilities here in Conroe, and wanted me to go talk with one of the residents there. And she had been placed there on Medicaid by her daughter. And when I went to visit with her, she was like, I don't know why my daughter put me here, because I'm okay to live by myself, and I'm mentally competent. And the more that I visited with her, the more that I was like, with just a little bit of help, and maybe from neighbors, church members, or whatever, you could still be independent rather than living a life in skilled nursing in a shared Medicaid bedroom. So she said that her daughter, and I confirmed this was true, contracted with an elder care attorney, not a good actor, and basically paid the lawyer to write the paperwork
And declare her incompetent.
Nope, she's got early stage of dementia. And then, of course, the lawyer said, well, in order for her to qualify for Medicaid, and they'll do a 5-year look back on everything, is that, you need to make sure that your mom kind of gets rid of her house and everything. And so basically the daughter sold off all of mom's assets, kind of took the profits and had a good time with it, spent them on her children, and then the lawyer made sure that all of the documents were in place and the right doctor certified her, and an opening came up here in Conroe, and in she went. So, I was like, you've got some legal rights here. Is that one, if you can pass a competency test,
You
we
can
get
sue your daughter back for
we
everything
can-
that you did.
We can get this reversed. And at that point in time, what she wanted more than anything in life was her freedom. Of
Exactly.
just, I don't want to be in here, and I don't like being with all these people that, have dementia, have Alzheimer's, and I'm okay.
Okay.
Right? And so, we got Adult Protective Services involved, and, got her all of the legal means that she needed to get out on her own. But the problem is, when she got out, she had no assets,
The daughter took
right? So now, you have Adult Protective Services trying to find this poor woman someplace safe to stay, and the daughter coming back and going, I don't know why you upset everything because mom had a roof over her head and 3 square meals a day.
What kind of daughter is this one? God knows.
But you see these kind of dynamics coming every single day, where you've got lawyers, law firms out there for
And doctors that will sign anything to make sure. Exactly.
Is that, and the children are like, $5,000, that's a lot of money for doing Medicaid paperwork. Well, is it, when you count the cost of $6,000 a month to living in skilled nursing? But hey, if mom would have been okay, maybe living in, I don't know, a Section 8 apartment somewhere, and that where, her income that she has coming in would have been just fine. And there's a lot of good 55-plus apartment communities around here.
There are.
Plus, she had her own house and everything else, which the daughter sold all the assets on the advice of the lawyer that you need to spend down her assets. And yes, that's true, but you spent it down just because. And the
Was
daughter,
she the only daughter?
yes, and
that's
the
disgusting.
daughter told me that she felt that she was long term. She was doing this for the good of her mother, and I was like, hey, long term, who knows when Jesus is going to call your mom home? What do you want to commit here to a life living in a shared room in a skilled nursing facility?
Miss Diane,
Which
this
is
world
fine.
has come. Well, this world has come to just
But
me, myself, and I. You know what I mean?
It
Selfishness.
gets back to what you were saying earlier, in that we have generations of people that don't feel a moral obligation to
Towards
take care of their
they
elderly.
They don't.
And they're looking at, well, $5,000 to pay a lawyer to take care of mom so she'll get on long-term Medicaid and find a place for her.
And let me tell you something.
Bang.
It's not only that. It's basically you haven't even died, and I know families that they're like, oh, so have you written your last will? Am I into it? Kids asking the parents, am I into it? Am I receiving anything? Okay, like that. or why is he receiving more than me? Okay, that's the materialistic world that we have common, and this is the prince of this world. He's running around. That's what I keep saying myself. But everybody has a different opinion. But I'm gonna be honest with you, that's what's happening. La señora Nielsen está explicándonos de que ha visto casos tan serios con ahora no solamente el área de que no sabemos qué pasa cuando tenemos a un padre o una madre enferma y hay que buscar recursos, sino también está la parte donde los hijos buscan abogados que son básicamente scammers, o vamos a decirlo de esta manera, abogados que solo por el dinero están y hacen todo lo posible por quitarle a personas irregulares. Ella tiene un caso de una señora que la señora estaba mentalmente bien. Simple y sencillamente la hija la hizo pasar como si estuviera completamente incompetente, tuviera demencia, la sacaron de la casa, vendieron todo lo vendieron y la pusieron por Medicaid en una de las facilidades donde dan asistencia de vida a las personas que tienen ese tipo de problemas. Ella fue a hablar con la señora y se dio cuenta que la señora está normal. La señora pasó el examen de competencia, hizo todo, peleó, pero ahora el problema es lo siguiente: la hija le vendió la casa, así que la hija no tiene dónde ponerla y la hija no la va a aceptar y simplemente la señora está dónde vivir, no tiene dónde vivir. Ese es el tipo de personas que tenemos ahorita mismo, que los jóvenes están no apreciando a nuestros adultos y no nos están dando, no se les está enseñando. Usted como padre no le está enseñando a los niños: oye, a tu abuela, a tu abuelo respetas. Tú quieres a tu abuelo, a tu abuela. Tus papás viven contigo, porque así mismo como tú tuviste chiquito que te limpiaron la nalga, así mismo también hay que hacerlo cuando están adultos tus papás. El amor, la integridad, no el celular. El celular, la tableta, los amiguitos, eso no le va a ayudar al joven. Darle moral, una moral íntegra, donde tú respetes al adulto. Eso es lo que queremos hacer. Thank you, Ms. Nielsen, for saying that. I'm going to go ahead and take a little break. Vamos a agarrar un break ahorita mismo y volvemos dentro de unos minutos. We're going to take a break and we'll come back in a couple minutes. Hey, this is Jenny from Voces in Accion. We're going to talk about one of our sponsors, First Financial Bank. Are you ready to make your dreams come true in home ownership? The new affordable mortgage program at First Financial Bank can be a great option for you and your family. We're here to help you. Call 936-439-1800. Again, 936-439-1800 and discover how can we assist you. The American dream is at your reach at First Financial Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC. Hola, les habla Jenny de Voces en Acción y hoy vamos a hablar sobre uno de nuestros patrocinadores, First Financial Bank. ¿Listo para hacer realidad su sueño de comprar su propio hogar? El nuevo programa hipotecario de vivienda accesible de First Financial Bank puede ser una opción excelente para usted y su familia. Están a sus órdenes llamando al 936-439-1800. Nuevamente, el número es 936-439-1800 y descubra cómo le pueden asistir. El sueño americano está a su alcance en First Financial Bank. Prestamista de vivienda equitativa, miembro FIDC. Gracias por estar con nosotros nuevamente y este show se lo dedico a todos los padres de familia que creen que van a llegar a viejos y que nadie va a estar por ustedes, a todos los senior citizens, a todas las personas que están escuchándome que son viejitos. Ustedes no están solos, ustedes tienen ayuda, hay gente que los puede ayudar y comuníquense, hay teléfonos donde se puede llamar. Si usted necesita ayuda, por favor, llame, comuníquese, voy a dar la información completa para que usted lo haga. I am dedicating the show to all the senior citizens, all the elderly that are out there, all the people that I need, that need a helping hand. You guys are not alone. You have somebody that cares for you. You have people like Ms. Nielsen that I founded this organization to make sure that in Montgomery County, senior citizens are taken care of. Okay, we do not oppose, that we know that you guys, some of you have families and you're thinking, well, I cannot leave my material things. Material things are not gonna, you're not gonna be able to take your material things when you close your eyes. But if you have a good care, you can last longer. So that's the main thing. Veo, and I'm seeing la tarjeta que me dio ella, and I'm going to go ahead and say the things that they do for you. And I'm going to just kind of like summarize them. Senior Care Scout is a concierge. That means it's a place where you can contact them. They will help you navigate the options of living for senior citizens. From placement in independent living to assisted living or memory care or skilled nursing or personal care homes. Those things, they advocate for you during the stress time. If you're BA, they will get the BA assistance and other private fundings to help you pay for the care of your loved one. They have lists of random communities and care around your area and the communities, and they will. That means they will never say no to you. Basically, you will never say no. They will never say no to you. They will try to find a way to help you, regardless of what you think they're not going to help you. They will give you recommendations according to their stories and their reports and things that have been going around and the experience that Ms. Nielsen has and Leslie has in regards to how to proceed on any type of requirement that you need. And they will report state violations, things like that, for example. And I want to talk about that. Like I said, I have a lot of complaints, and I heard her complaints too, of senior citizens being raped, assaulted, not taken care of, beaten up, mistreated. That's the scary part about too. How do you guys handle that? Because people don't trust the process because of, am I going to leave my parent with somebody that's going to be mistreating them?
Well, and I think that's one of the advantages of working through us is that we go out to, especially the little care homes, where they probably do the best job when the amount of care is 24/7, and whether it's that mom needs to have supervision 24/7 so she doesn't cut herself or walk out the door and never come back. The little care homes do a phenomenal job on that. Plus, some of these care homes are owned by registered nurses that truly have a servant's heart and do an outstanding job with very high acuity levels, that somebody has a feeding tube, somebody has a trach in them. And I would rather see someone go to a personal care home than I would ever put them into a skilled nursing facility, because in the little care homes, the patient to caregiver ratio is maybe 1-3, 1-4. You get in these big skilled nursing facilities, it's like 1-15 or higher. And how can one caregiver, even if they've got the right heart, take care of 15 people when they're hitting the call button at the same time and they need to be changed?
That's when the family really needs to be there.
The little care homes shine in this. And
I have a friend of mine that owns a little care home, but she does hospice in her house. She has a whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 beds in there, and she bought a home and she renovated everything, and she has the you go over there and whenever she had patients from 5-year-old all the way to patients that are older, and when they're hospice, and she takes care of them. So I know little care homes are better than having them on these big old ones that are there's absolutely care.
But people don't know that, and the ordinary person, they hear from the doctor that it's time for mom to go to the nursing home, and they immediately go there. And if I can get before them, I'm going to stop. Let's look at a little care home where mom will be living in a wonderful little home with a dining room and a kitchen.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine that owns two.
I know,
if you guys
wonderful.
Sycamore Ranch.
Yes.
Okay, they're friends of mine. The Fletchers.
The Fletchers, yes.
The Fletcher family to me is a lovely. Fletcher, Ted and Ritzy.
Yes.
Ritzy and Ted have done a magnificent job within Montgomery County, trying to have those little care homes that, you know.
So think about this. In Montgomery County, there's over 126 care homes.
Can you imagine? So,
But there's that many seniors, and most of these people don't want to advertise because they don't want unscrupulous people coming into their home where they have vulnerable adults. So they'll use people like us and telling us, I have a little care home over here. They might call me up and saying, somebody just passed on hospice, and so in about a month I'll be ready to take somebody else. So we kind of keep a list, for lack of a better word, of all of these homes that we know, we love, we trust.
Exactly.
So that when a need arises, and if we think that this particular home can handle the care needs.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times I might look at the man and he might be a big man, like 230 pounds. And I was like, you can't send him to your care home because you have little caregivers and there's no way you'll be able to lift
this
him
and changing and stuff like that.
But there are other wonderful care homes that are out there. Some of them are owned by men nurses.
Wow.
Where, you know, they're like, I can take, you know, these big guys and stuff.
Exactly.
And I'll go over there and try and visit the homes. And I've got some other volunteers from my church that have also, you know, I can give them a list and just going, stop over when you're in the area and just stop in and see how my little guys are doing over there and make sure that they're safe, they're happy, they're on care plan.
Exactly.
So we can't really reach out everywhere because a lot of folks are, you know, can you handle homes like in Pearland or something like that? I was like, not to be able to know that if I recommend something to you, I know that they're going to take good care of you.
Exactly.
And but within Montgomery County, and we can probably go as far as Huntsville.
Harris County, probably.
Yeah.
Houston,
Yeah.
Tomball.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We probably go as far south as 2920.
2920. Exactly.
But you know, you get past there, and it's just too big of an area.
Exactly.
So we find that here in Montgomery County, there's more than enough families that have a need. And you know, if the need isn't that the care home is the best option, and sometimes the family is like, you know, well, Dad needs to go to a care home, and I'll go visit with Dad and saying, you know, if we could just put in some grab bars and put a ramp in, you could stay in your house maybe another 5 years. Or they want to put Dad into a care home or put him into senior living because they want to take the keys away and they don't want Dad to be driving anymore. And I'll sit down with the family and say, why can you not open a Lyft account or an Uber account up for Dad and teach Dad that when he needs to go to the Walmart that he calls the Uber and you can have it so that it's, you know, they contact you saying Dad's wanting to go to Walmart. But there are ways that, you know, if they're good to still stay independent, I'm all for staying as independent as long as possible.
Exactly.
In some cases, going to senior living, where we like to call it independent living, is good because they can get somebody to help
They have
manage
buses.
their medication.
They have their buses there. They take them to the doctor visits. They have games.
Activities.
They have activities. They have
Bring
The
food.
social component is so important because I see so many seniors where the spouse has died and then they just become withdrawn. And I was like, when is the last time that you went out and saw your friends? When is the last time you went out and played a game of golf? You used to love to golf. Well, I don't know. All my friends are so old. No, I mean, we can get you into a community where there's older adults that are still playing three holes of golf.
I saw a couple that got married in the senior community.
Oh,
She was a widower, he was a widower.
Yes.
And they met each
that
other
happens
playing
a lot.
bingo, and they started talking and talking. And next thing they know, after 2 years, they got married. And then we're talking about 70, 75, you know, they got married. I'm like, they weren't in senior assisted living, but they were able to do their thing, independent living.
Yeah.
And
You
you
can
see
still
those
thrive,
stuff because it's beautiful. That means that they have a life and they have some more to care, you know what I mean? And eso es lo que queremos hacer. Queremos enseñarles a ustedes cómo ellos trabajan. Ellos son un grupo de mujeres que se encargan de darle a usted los conocimientos de cómo usted va a poder ayudar a su papá o a su mamá cuando estén en edad en edad de necesidad. Usualmente la edad de necesidad puede comenzar a los 60, 70, dependiendo cómo esté la persona, si le comenzó Alzheimer's o si le comenzó demencia. Eso no se sabe. Dependiendo de la necesidad de su papá y su mamá, si están en una silla de ruedas, si necesitan, no pueden estar solos, cosas así. Ellos se encargan de ayudarlo y navegar las opciones de cómo va a poner ese papá o esa mamá, tanto en assisted living o sea, asistencia de donde son lugares donde tú puedes ir a vivir y que te ayudan allí, o si no, lugares de memory care, lugares donde te ayudan, son padres, ya son personas con problemas de Alzheimer's, que son muy fuertes y que necesitan 24/7. Pero también hay casas pequeñas. Hay unas casas pequeñas que todo está en el área de Montgomery, donde el anciano se va y se queda allí. Esas casas pequeñas son de enfermeros o de enfermeras o de personas que han trabajado en este ramal y tienen la oportunidad de abrir su casa con todos los apruebos del gobierno para hospedar personas adultas. Hay también hay casas pequeñas para hospice, que son ya los que están terminando su vida. Entonces también hay esos dos tipos de casas. Ellas trabajan en el área de Montgomery, quizás un poquito en el área de la 2920, por el área de Tomball, dependiendo las áreas. Pero al llamarla a ella, usted tiene una opción para poder preguntar y saber lo que pueden hacer. Mi problema era, y le pregunté a ella, era que cómo hacíamos nosotros con personas que tienen miedo de que les maltraten a su papá y a su mamá en un lugar de esto. Ella dice que ella recomienda las pequeñas casas, más que quizás un lugar de una casa de retiro. La casa de retiro usualmente es una enfermera por 15 adultos. Es muy difícil que una enfermera pueda cuidar correctamente a 15 adultos a la vez. En cambio, en las casas personales, usted está poniendo la plata, usted es la familia completamente. Esa mamá suya o ese papá suyo, ese familiar suyo, va a tener un cuidado excepcional, individual. En el área de Montgomery hay muchas, yo me mencioné muchas casas así. Por lo menos una amiga mía, Rizzy Fletcher, que es amiga mía de mucho tiempo, ella es dueña de Sycamore Ranch, que es una de las pequeñas comunidades pequeñas que tiene. Ella tiene 2 aquí en el área de Shenandoah y ella ofrece ese servicio. Hay muchas personas que también en el área que la señora Nielsen conoce, que tienen sus pequeños hogares y que han dedicado su tiempo para poder ayudar. Ellos realmente aman a los adultos. Care for the adults. Y le digo, también un lugar muy bonito son los assisted living. Los assisted living son las casas de retiro grandes donde la gente va y ellos pueden caminar, pueden hacerse sus cosas, pero han quedado viudos o solos y prefieren meterse allí. Allí tienen desde doctores que tienen conserje, tienen que los lleven, busitos que los llevan a las clases, ¿cómo se llama? A las citas médicas. Y eso es lo que dice ella. Tenemos que entrenarlos a ustedes para que ustedes agarren y entiendan que mientras su papá y su mamá puedan estar activos, hay que darle una ayuda para que se mantengan activos. Si usted quiere quitarle la llave a su papá y a su mamá para que no maneje más, entonces usted tiene que ver la manera de cómo usted le da, aunque sea Uber, para que el papá y la mamá puedan llamar por Uber si quieren ir a Walmart o si quieren ir a algún lado y no tienen que estar encerrados. Eso es lo que tenemos que hacer. Hay que comenzar a educarnos que hay muchos adultos que sí han llegado adultos y que pueden mantenerse solos. Sobre todo, hay longevidad en la comunidad hispana. There's longevity in the Hispanic community.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
And I can tell you because I have a 93-year-old father and a 92-year-old mother. And my father swims 20 laps every other day.
Beautiful.
If you take care of yourself, and I mean,
My
a
mother
lot
has-
of this
yeah.
is hydration. Older adults do not drink enough water. So that's
Exactly.
the big thing. Eat the right foods. Stay away from processed foods. Stay away from sugars. And now I'm telling you how to live a long, happy life. I will tell you another little secret here, and that is that if you can make yourself every single day continue to write cursive handwriting, it will do more for rewiring
My
your
mother
brain.
has a tablet.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
My mother, like I
Beautiful.
said, she was a geriatric nurse.
Yeah.
So she knows how to lift up a patient and clean him and bathe him and do everything. She was doing that all her life. and she was caring for the Panama Canal retirees. So you can imagine all the people that work in the Panama Canal that needed help.
Yeah.
So my mother founded the MEDAC, which is a medical area for the retirees of the Panama Canal. So she did that job for 30-something years. But now she's 92.
Yeah.
So my mother she gets up, she takes a shower, she does everything. She
Puts her makeup on.
she
puts her hair
doesn't
down.
go out.
Yes.
She doesn't go out without her makeup
My
on
mom-
and everything, and
That's
she goes
good.
out and she sits down. And my mother sits during the day. She has a tablet, and my sister have bought her so many games, so she's just memory games. She does a lot of memory games.
That's great.
She loves, like anybody, she forgets things. And then she's like, I'm getting old and I'm forgetting. I said, Mom,
Don't say that.
hello, I'm
Self-fulfilling
56 and you're 92, and
Yeah.
I sometimes I go to the kitchen and I don't know what I wanted in the
Right.
kitchen, okay? So do not worry about that. Because she has osteoporosis, because of the lifting and doing so many things, her body's tired. But my father, his father was until 100, and his grandfather, his uncle until 99. So I know my father has more activity, mental and everything. He's doing things. And so they both keep each other like that. But the activity, being active means, the other day I read a paper, and I know, you probably know, they found that a doctor in Sweden, she was giving to her husband coconut oil. He had Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's starting to go retroactive.
Yes, it can. There's so.
The coconut oil will do the job. So everybody that's hearing me, start drinking coconut
Yes.
oil,
MCT
because
oil.
if you're missing, it will go back to your brain. And so every morning in the coffee, put coconut oil and drink it.
I do that.
And that's what it's
And
gonna
butter.
help you, and it helps you to remember. It helps you to everything. So I'm doing that with my parents. So there's a lot of things
Yeah,
that can we do.
We went through a whole generation. I think the whole baby boomer generation
Exactly.
and the Gen Xers and that. We all got suckered into convenience foods.
Exactly.
And that
Oh,
is
yeah.
so poisonous for
Well,
us. And
that's
yet
what
we
our
look at
millennials are eating.
I know.
The
We
American
look at
diet is
our
bad.
great-grandparents' era and stuff where they were eating off the land and the sweet potatoes out of the ground and whatever.
My
and
mother
yet
told me that.
they would live for forever, and that. But a lot of it was when they pulled the sweet potatoes out of the ground.
had the
The
dirt.
dirt and
The dirt was
stuff
there.
I know.
Exactly.
And so they would cook
Nutrients.
it and they eat the peelings and because they didn't want anything to go to waste. And yet when they died a
Healthy.
good death.
Right.
No, and they,
You know?
and it's so
stay
funny
healthy
because
till they
they
left.
died, and like in my family, they died in their bed. They went to sleep, good night, and
Yes,
da-da,
my
bye.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, and that's something that is so beautiful,
Yes.
They didn't, my grandmother had circulation issues, but she, that's something that, because of the way here in America, she died over here. She's buried in Washington, D.C., my grandfather as well. But, that's what happens, you go to the bed and you sleep because of the way they took care of themselves. My grandmother
Yes.
died when she was 92. My grandfather died, too. They're older, they're elderly. But
Yes.
now, what are we expecting? How new generations are going to go? How long they're dying in the 50s, 40s, they're already dying.
The acuity level for, the actuary level for United States is going down every single year. Is that 5 years ago, 75 was considered to be the average lifespan, and now it's backing down to 72, and it's just getting lower and lower.
Can you imagine retirement age?
But-
We're not going to reach it.
Well,
know.
exactly. But when you think about how Americans are being lulled into the grave,
Yeah.
it's too much drugs, it's the wrong foods, and if you can just get back to basics, it'll do a world
And the
of good for you.
And that's what we're gonna go ahead and do.
industry owns the food industry now.
The pharmaceuticals owns everything, and they're the
Our
ones that are
seniors
just
are
trying everything.
over-medicated and
Everything that I'm
undereducated.
so sorry. That's a personal view of mine. Nothing to do with Voces and Accion. Nothing to do with Lone Star. That's my personal opinion. I shouldn't be giving my personal opinion. But the pharmaceuticals, they give you a pill to correct something, and that thing will take something away from you.
But
so
where
it
is
doesn't
it?
work.
Where is it in the medical community that the doctor he prescribes the last thing that the pharmaceutical rep came in, gives him a bunch of samples and saying, okay, the next time that your patient comes in here and and you need to give them a blood thinner, here's a bunch of samples to give them. No, I mean, and this goes back to the fact, why is it that if an elderly person comes in to see their doctor and they're on Medicare, that the doctor is only going to spend 8 minutes or less with them.
They're
How can you do
less
that?
than 8 minutes in the room.
Because when they look at after everything else, the amount of money that Medicare is actually going to pay the doctor, when it's to be like $15 and that, the medical doctor goes, well, the most I can afford to spend with
It's
you.
15
minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah, and if that, and so he walks in, he's got his tablet, he punches in a bunch of stuff, he says, well,
and you try to talk to the doctor, and the doctor is like, oh, I have this amount of minutes. You're able to give me 3 of those things only. I cannot, you can make another appointment for another. So,
but rather than the doctor providing stuff like, hey, what are you eating at home? How much are you exercising? What is the stress level in that? No, he goes, I've sent a prescription into your pharmacy at HEB. You can pick it up at 5 o'clock tonight. No, that's not medicine, and that's what's happening to our seniors. I walk into these apartments and there's a shoebox full of drugs. I'm like, do you take all these drugs for what? Well, I don't know. And then I'll say, what is this drug for? And I'm like, do you know this drug is for gout? Do you have gout? I don't know. But your doctor prescribed it for you. And I mean, don't get me off on this soapbox because...
But and I know, basically, lo que estamos tratando de decir es lo siguiente. Para sumarizar todo lo que hemos hablado. La señora Nielsen y la señora Williams, ellas tratan de proveerles a ustedes el conocimiento correcto sobre hasta las medicinas que sus padres y sus madres están tomando, cómo las farmacéuticas están robándole la vida a los adultos, cómo podemos prevenir todo esto. Si usted tiene un adulto en su casa al cual usted no puede cuidar, por favor, váyase al www.Senior Care Scout. Si pueden mirar eso, can you close this too a little bit, sir, so you can see it? This is Miss Leslie William, and she's the community relations, and she's working with our chaplain, Miss Nielsen, in regards to how to proceed when you need assistance. Please contact them. Contáctenlos. Ellas consiguen a alguien que hable español para ayudarlos. You will get somebody who speaks Spanish to help
I've
them.
got a neighbor.
Okay, they can call me.
My mom, my mother.
Todo mundo le puede hablar en español. Hay gente que habla en español. Usted necesita ayuda. Por favor, llámelos. No dejen a sus abuelos, a sus abuelas, a sus papás, a su mamá sin conocimiento, sin cuidado, sin ayuda. Eso es malo. No podemos hacer eso. Tenemos que abarcar la comunidad, ayudar a los adultos y cuidarnos nosotros. Ya no es ser egoísta, es ser razonable. Tenemos que tomar acción y ayudar a los adultos. Senior Care Scout es la llamada más grande. Ellas les pueden ayudar con todo, procesos de Medicare, todo. Ellas saben las leyes y pueden guiarle para que usted pueda ayudar a su padre de familia, a su tío, a su abuelo, lo que usted necesita. Contáctelos. El teléfono de ellos es 832-458-6139. 832-458-6139. Hable con la señora Leslie. Si no habla inglés, busque a alguien que hable inglés. Ella consigue a alguien que hable español. Puede comunicarse. Ayúdese usted mismo. Ayuda a sus padres. No sea un tabú. Los papás de nosotros podemos cuidarlo y darle mejor vida. Se los agradezco. Que pasen buenas tardes. Miss Leslie, Miss Diane, it's a pleasure having you guys here.
Thank you.
If
Our
there's
pleasure.
anything else that you would like to say before we close,
We're good. Just stay with Jesus.
manténganse con Jesús.
Yes.
Es lo que quiere decir ella. Es lo último. Que pasen buenas tardes. Thank you so much for being with us again in Voces en Acción. Thanks, First Financial Bank, our sponsor, and we'll see you in our next edition. Have a good one. Bye-bye.